Hello, everybody. Welcome to That Young Cineast. Today is March 4th, and it is the 5th episode, I believe. And today we're talking about classic films. And yeah, we are joined by Kaelin Mendez.
Hello.
Emma, our moderator.
Hi.
And our very first guest, Jaylen. Say
Hello.
hi. Hello.
Hey.
All of us are going to provide our insights on what we think classic films are going to be. So, first I want to hand it over to Jaylen. I want you to say your name. We know your name already, but what do you do that's related to filmmaking and like what you're interested in?
Okay. My name is Jaylen. So I've been creating like short films. Like I made one, but I'm hoping to make more. And I want to be a director in the future, and I want to just see where this path leads me.
Is there any kind of like filmmaking specifically that you're really into? I know you wanted to talk about something.
I really love like analog media, like videotaping, just like stuff like that. All the vintage cameras.
So like analog media is just basically basic filmmaking but using different cameras is what it is?
Analog media is like physical like media, like a videotape, like a cassette tape, just like stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's media that's not recorded digitized on like an SD card and things like that. It's recorded on actual tapes and as Jaylen said. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen you walking around with, I don't know what to call it, but just like bigger
The handy
cameras.
cam?
I'm not sure. Yeah. So, yeah, do you think that like, why do you do that over like digitized like DSLRs and stuff like that?
I think for me, it's like the nostalgia factor, like for people getting to like relive that era. Like one of my biggest inspirations is this band called Ginger Root. All their music videos are shot on old like tube cameras, videotape cameras, and like I just feel like that type of media or that type of video style is just like to me it means a lot because like I get to experience how other people's childhoods were. Like I get to see how cameras evolved. Like I just really enjoy that type of stuff.
I feel like because I have a handy cam too. I used to bring that out in college. I don't want to be that guy, but before it really blew up. No, really, I brought out my handy cam and then I started seeing everyone bringing out their handy cam and Emma's cringing, but it was real. But I do like that look, and I think there was something to it for me about having something actual, like you had a limit, right? These tapes are 120 minutes at the max, and so you knew you had 120 minutes that you had to fill up or that you could fill up. It's like so saturated now that you can pull out your phone and take as many photos, as many videos as you want. But you know, having a film cartridge or a tape, something that limits you, really pushes you to decide like what moments you actually want to capture and what shots you want to take. I'm talking about photos and videos here. I think there's something nice about that, and at the end you have something actually physical that you can store and keep and then replay later on. And yeah, I don't know, that's why I've liked analog media. I don't know if you feel the same way, Jaylen, too, about that.
Yeah, like I like the tapes better than the SD cards because, like you said, like with the limit, like you had to really know what you want to film. Like you really want to like understand like how this like videotape has only so much time on it and how you're gonna fit the shots you want. Like, so I like maybe actually yeah, last year I filmed something with my friends, and it was my birthday party video. So I had a like big like mini DV like mounted like camera, and I was just like taping like everything I could like tape. So I only had 60 minutes, and I wanted to condense those 60 minutes into one video. So I didn't want to waste any tape, but like just the shots where I'm not like where it's just like random stuff, like I feel like that adds more like to the experience. Like you could like see it raw.
You said you made a short film. Was that using analog media? Like,
Yeah. So the actual short film I made, it was actually multimedia. So I shot it on a Lumix camera, and then I shot part of it on like a handy cam.
oh, okay. So that was like, I don't really know the realm of where you're on analog media, but like, sorry for my questions, but that was yes, physical recording, like
Yeah.
tapes.
Yeah.
So when
But
you
the Lumix is not, right? The Lumix was just
Yeah.
a
SD
SD
card.
card. What Lumix camera are you using?
I forgot the model.
It's all good. I've started off on the GH4 and then I moved over to the G9, and so I was just curious. I've used Lumix before, that's why.
oh, Kaelin,
No,
back in my day.
not back in my day. These are not old cameras. These are new cameras or newer cameras.
To you.
Well, but like,
No.
how did you decide? Like, how did you manage that tape? Basically, like when you're using the camera that records with tape, how did you not waste anything on set filming?
So like I would rehearse the shots before I would actually shoot anything. I'd like, okay, we're gonna rehearse this shot, and I would look into the the viewfinder, and I would just like try to imagine that and see how it would like look. So when they were rehearsing, sometimes I would actually hit record, because like sometimes the rehearsals were good, but it's just like you have to play it by ear. Like you had
Okay.
to, or sometimes you could record over the tape, which is like what I do, so I don't have to like waste all of it. But other than that, you just gotta play it by ear.
Would you like digitize it like the night of, and then the next day if you had to shoot over what you've already like recorded over to your computer, like it was fine?
Yeah, I would digitize it. So I actually have like a separate thing that plugs into the camera, and I could just record onto it, but it's not that like portable. So I just like shooting on the tape better.
For the Handycam that I have, like you have as a USB or you can plug it in to the camera, and then as a USB connector, and that there's a program that, so it's not like you can record directly from the camera, but so I was just curious.
So with analog media, you're working with tape that only holds an hour of footage, but you want to be able to make meaningful work. It sounds like you do ask whatever people you have in a scene to rehearse it before you hit record, but you also record their rehearsals. So it sounds to me that you want to capture that realness to human interaction, but you are still constrained by the limits of the media. How do you approach that? What balance do you walk on?
Like, so when they're doing the rehearsals, I have them do it like 3 times. So every third time I hit record, just in case they get it right. But having that time limit on the tape, it like really, like if I think they're doing really good on the third rehearsal, I'll record. But if I think they need like to change something up, I'll let them know and I won't record.
I see. So through that process, you're building your director skills that you want to use later on. I see.
So like you have a definite answer that you want to enter this industry as well. Like you definitely. I'm not sure that I have a definite answer yet, but Jaylen, how strongly do you feel about entering the film industry?
I feel pretty strong about it, it's because for me, I have a lot of connections. I have like tons of connections to people who work in there. I've been on a couple of music video sets. I've worked with someone. I've like been their grip or like their assistant. So just having those people in my life, I feel I have like a good opportunity or a good shot.
Yeah. So when you do eventually make your mark, basically, are you bringing analog media with you? Is that your plan?
Yeah, I'm definitely bringing analog media.
Ooh.
I'm bringing all those old shots, like all of that. I'm bringing that. I'm thinking about filming like a short series called Pedalhead, and it's still in the works, but basically it's like kind of like Scott Pilgrim, and it's kind of inspired by a music video by Ginger Root. I love Ginger Root. I can't lie, but their music video was called There Was a Time, and in the music video it's like this girl has to fight off all these people with a guitar, so like Scott Pilgrim style, and they filmed it on like one of those older cameras, like the analog media cameras, but I want to do something like that. Like I want to start with that.
Cool. Well, thanks, Jaylen. I think we should begin our discussion about classic films.
All right, what are you classifying as classics, Matthew?
Yeah. Well, for me, classics are basically what like it's not like Hollywood classic, I would say, but like family classic. Like
family. So it's not. So it's just like you see a good movie and you're just like, dang, classic.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
like
basically.
or it's held up its own throughout time a little bit longer. That you know. Yeah. Okay.
Something that holds up, basically.
Okay. I think that's the actual definition. I was pulling that up from my research because I was trying to figure out what movies I consider classic too.
Well, from some of these are from what I've heard and what I assume, and some of these are from what I actually have seen.
Oh, so you're pulling up stuff that you've never even seen.
I've never even seen, but I guarantee you if I watch it, I'll probably like it.
All right.
The Goonies.
Never seen The Goonies.
Yeah, me either.
Really?
Anyone
Never.
else? The Goonies? No?
I don't know if I consider The Goonies a classic, but I think my definition of classic is different.
Yeah.
What's your definition of classic, Emma?
Well, going into this, we talked a little bit about the topic before we started filming, and I think we were debating on whether or not certain movies were classics, and I felt that cult classics, were the most impactful for the culture that I'm in, for me and my peers, rather than, like, as Matthew said, Hollywood classics.
Yeah, I think I have a good, I don't know, I have a good mix between the two. I found a list that I made of like some of my favorite movies of all time, and so in there there's definitely things that I consider classic and my friends consider classic, and then others that are actually genuinely good movies.
Okay. Well, to finish off my list, I just spitballed some stuff. Don't judge me, Secret Life of Walter Mitty, I think it's pretty recent, as Kaelin has told me before, but I think it's a family classic and holds up pretty well.
You know what I'll say? I don't know if I'd consider that a classic. It is on my list of favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
Though. It is a good movie. It is a really good movie.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I think, is a classic because of its story structure and its like simplicity. A lot of things were built on that story structure and built off of it, which
it's like,
I'd say it makes it a classic.
It revolutionized like the fourth wall breakdown, I believe.
That too.
Or it's
one of
the I don't know if it's the first one, but it's the one that like popularized it, I believe.
The Godfather, I watched this one recently. It's really long for no reason, but I thought it was good. Lost me at some points, but people consider it a classic, so
I watched that a few years ago. I think I have to watch it again. I don't remember how I felt about it. I do think I liked it, but I don't know if I was like, wow, this is one of the best movies ever made.
I only watched it because like the imagery comes up a lot. Like people are like, "Oh,
Yeah.
from The Godfather." Oh,
The
that-
horse head. The
Yeah,
horse head
yeah.
one. Yeah.
you know. And this I wrote this a long time ago. Indiana Jones. You know, franchise classic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
I think it's one of those. You've never seen Indiana Jones?
What?
No, my
None
dad's
of
never-
them?
Yeah, no. Well,
Well,
We've taken you to Disneyland how many times and you've never seen Indiana Jones?
it's a singular ride at Disneyland now, though.
It's a vibe.
It is a vibe. I do like the Indiana Jones movies too. I do think it's one of those franchises that like parents and like people are like, you have to watch it, and they'll like sit down and watch it with you. But I don't know. I guess it's a classic in the blockbuster sense. It's a classic blockbuster
what are your
series.
your guys's? What do you guys think classics are? Definitions. Let's go to the classics
Okay.
definition. I know Emma already gave her definition, but
Yeah, Jaylen, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. So I think my definition of classics are, I guess, like popular or like movies that are in the pop like culture scene.
Mhm.
Like I like older movies, like Pulp Fiction, like Back to the Future. Like I feel like older movies that were in the pop culture scene are like what I consider classics.
yeah, I think Back to the Future is one of them.
I would consider those classics for sure.
Kaelin, what's your definition of classic?
My definition is, I think I said it, like where you're just like afterwards you're like, wow, it's a good movie, and something that I think would hold up over time. You know, even Karate Kid holds up over time. I know they're doing a bunch of reboots and like shows and stuff, but even without those shows before, it was like one of those movies you just had to watch. Again, Back to the Future, Pulp Fiction I've never seen, but it is one of those like classic movies, and a bunch of others, but which I can go through my list later. But yeah, I think it's good movies, but things that will hold up over time, or have held up over time.
Well, I think go ahead and list them. I want to hear them.
Me, my list.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Number one, I think one of my favorite movies of all time is Good Will Hunting.
I want to see that one.
Classic. I have to do the adulting here. The movies on my list. I am not saying go. The movies on my list, I'm not saying go out and watch because some of them are rated R. To you and the listeners, but when you have the chance, go watch them. Good Will Hunting, When Harry Met Sally, classic rom-com. That also gets referenced a lot too. Before Sunrise is also one of my favorite movies.
I want to get
classic.
into like the Before trilogy. I want to know what that's about.
I watched so there's three. So it's Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and then Before Midnight. I've seen the first two, and I just like, I heard not so great reviews of the last one, and I was already disappointed by the second one. So if I recommend it, I recommend just the first one and just sticking to that. Great movie. Baby Driver, I think, is one of those movies that like could become classic. It has that feel, has that vibe. It's honestly one of my favorite movies that I've ever seen too. It's like top 10 for sure. Taking the director out of it, Annie Hall's a classic that I actually really enjoyed when I saw it back in like years ago. That was also great. But so those are the movies. I think like other movies that I really enjoyed that are like kind of cult classic-y are like Napoleon Dynamite. Nacho Libre has a little following of its own too, and those kinds of movies I consider like, you're just like, you watch it, you're like classic, and they do hold up. It's like it's quirky enough that you come back to every once in a while, and they're like comfort movies for me. But yeah. And I think this is like a blockbuster, but like The Batman, the one with Robert Pattinson, so good. And The Dark Knight. The Batman and The Dark Knight, two great movies that I think if you were okay, at least The Dark Knight. If you were to ask people like what's in the top 100 films, The Dark Knight's up there. But the Batman has I think it has room to grow. I think it's actually a really fantastic movie in the way that it's shot. Well, it's shot really well. The acting is fantastic, and the character designs are like incredible. So even if you take the idea of it's like a superhero film, if you take a shot from that, it's so incredibly shot, in my opinion. So yeah.
Anyone else? You guys have lists? Emma, Jaylen? You didn't bring a list? Emma?
I
Or
can
no,
list off
Jaylen?
some cult classics off my head, but it's not as in depth as Kaelin was.
Jaylen?
Yeah, I kind of have a list. So I think for me, I think one of the top ones, like I said, Back to the Future, Pulp Fiction, The Truman Show, The Sandlot, 10 Things I Hate About You, Green Mile, Forrest Gump, Fight Club.
Those are actual like classic films for sure.
Dang.
I haven't seen all of them, and I would have listed Forrest Gump on my list if I had watched it all the way through, but I only got halfway through, and then for some reason, I think it was like I like rented the movie or something, and then I like stopped, and then it just my rental ended before I could finish it, so I still just have to finish it. But it was a good movie. It's a good movie.
Honestly, I think the reason why I haven't seen a lot of these is because I just don't have access to them. Or like, I've only seen Forrest Gump when it's on cable. Like I only see it in fractions. And The Green Mile, I think I'd really like that story if I actually sat down and watched it. But I know the plot, but I've never sat down and watched it. Or like, I've seen Back to the Future. I made myself sit down for that.
Love Back to the Future too.
Amazing.
I can't believe I forgot about that on my list when I wrote this a while back. Great movie trilogy, but the first one's best. It's good.
It's like kind of interesting how my generation is sorry guys, having to look back and call these movies that were only like 40, 50 years ago as like the beginning of the industry, like to use it as something to reference and be building on, So this, I guess this industry is like is it like 100 years old or something?
It's more than 100.
More than 100 years old, but like movies have reached their classic level 40, 50 years ago is what most people are saying.
Well, vintage is 20 plus years. So it's anything more than 20, I think, is getting to that point where it's like, Goldie oldies, those are good movies. I was surprised none of us have listed actual like golden era Hollywood. There are some that I've seen that are good. The Third Man is a great movie. And I was actually surprised. I was doing some research before this podcast, and that's actually in some people's top 100 lists. Casablanca, great movie as well. And there's some other ones that I've seen that I'm like,
I want to get into that like realm of cinema, but it seems so overwhelming. Like it's either you watch the good ones or not, Yeah. Like you gotta find a good list that will give you some good movies.
And I think some definitely haven't aged well. I think Citizen Kane is overrated. I'm just throwing that out there. That's a hot take. And maybe it's not so hot of a take. But I had to watch that for a film class my freshman year of college, and I remember sitting there for like 3 hours or however long the movie was, and I was like, this is not a great movie. And I was surprised because everyone's like, Citizen Kane's like best movie of all time, and whatever. And I'm just like, there's better movies.
It pops up a lot in the cinematography book. It set a basis for different camera moves like that are used throughout cinema.
And I think that's more what it was, but I don't know. It was so long.
I gotta check it out. See, All these.
I'm glad you brought that up, Matthew, really quickly. We're talking about classics, and you're saying that films that were made 40 to 50 years ago are now considered classic level, as you said before. But in the fine arts, the definition of classicism is to create art within the bounds and traditions made by intellects before that influences art as generations to come. So if you are listing different movies, if you are listing these different movies, I do want to ask, what kind of impact do you think the movies you've listed have made to the art now?
And I'll take that a step further and say, what movies now do you think are going to be considered classics, in a few years, or our children or whatever, to look back and be like, 40 years ago, this movie was classic.
I have. Well, Emma, what was the beginning of your question?
An hour later.
That's crazy. Okay, so I define classics as well, in like classicism, fine art, it was art created using the like rules and traditions created by intellects, right? So we're assuming here that there are like cinema intellects that have created the foundations of how movies should be shot, how screenplays should be written. And these movies are just the culmination of all of that to influence culture and the art overall. So if you consider movies that were made 40 to 50 years ago classics, how are the movies you've listed or the movies you talk about classics today? Like, how have they impacted art, film?
Well, The Goonies I've never seen. I've watched The Secret Life of Walter Mitty a bunch of times. What really stands out to me and to my sister, which is her favorite movie, is the composition and the foreshadowing and like the background or the colors of how it tells a story as much as the actual plot does, I think the use of all of those would like really influence. I mean, it would influence me. I would actually take some things from that movie and apply it to what I would be making. And yeah, I think that's why I would, in your definition, name it a classic, is that there's so many things you can take and reference from like The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. So many, like cinematic, I don't know, actions or thoughts into the film that you can take to other films that will enhance the story, basically. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I think, has already influenced so many films that it gives that original young adult movie vibe. That's where it comes from, I think, is where it stems from.
It comes from, actually, that comes from John Hughes's movies and his collection. That whole thing where you're bringing awareness to a demographic that has never, or I don't want to say never, but hasn't had that much media targeted at them. So you're looking at young adults, you're looking at teenagers, and you're like, wow, my stories are being represented on screen. And it's as accurate as it could be at that time, maybe, but just having that voice and finding that voice has inspired a lot of young adult genre centered films and TV shows, and Ferris Bueller is one of those examples as well. It's not just John Hughes, but
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club, yep.
I think
Pretty in Pink,
16 Candles.
16 Candles.
Yeah. So anything that you can take from a movie that can influence like a domino effect of that use or something like that reference from the movie, I guess, I would consider a classic.
I understand. So what groundbreaking, format-changing style, I'm going back to Kaelin's question, do you see in media today that can mark them as classics?
So the Batman? No, I will say this about the Batman though. It has redefined what a superhero movie could look like and be in an era that is so inundated with superhero media. And now classic Marvel movies, now regular Marvel movies that are coming out are, I don't know, they feel cheap. They feel like a blockbuster. They feel like any other quote unquote superhero movie. I mean, superhero movies, I think, really started to find a voice with like another Batman movie, the Dark Knight trilogy. And now you're seeing that drop. Okay, take a Marvel movie from 2022. I don't even know what that would have been, and then take the Batman and put them side by side. There is a clear winner in both shots, CGI, storytelling, acting. I think future superhero movies are unfortunately not learning from the Batman, but I hope that 5-10 years down the line we see more movies in that follow kind of what the Batman shows a superhero movie could be. And I think in that way it could be, that's why I'm saying I think it could be a classic superhero movie, but still a classic.
I just want to give some context to Jaylen and the audience. Kaelin is a MCU hater. Kaelin has always been an MCU hater.
I grew up on the DC.
So
no, that's not true. I actually really liked MCU up until Endgame, and after Endgame, Spider-Man was the only thing saving the franchise for me.
Well, back to Emma's question after you just freaking analyzed the Batman. Gosh, the Batman's so good. I'll tell you why. Well, thanks
Riddle me
for that,
this.
Kaelin.
Why do Marvel movies suck so bad?
But like, I don't think I follow modern movies too much to answer your question, Emma. So like, every Oscars, those are that year's movies, and I would only know like one of them. You know, I don't follow it.
I do the same thing, actually.
Yeah, I don't follow.
So if you don't follow modern movies,
that's my mistake. Yeah.
How can you identify what movies are classics? If classics set the tone for the art and you do not consume what is the art now, how do you know what the classics are?
Well, I think besides that, I mean, it's just whatever movies end up in the zeitgeist. And I think a lot of the movies Matthew has listed, you see references even in TV shows and other things and other media that aren't necessarily, you know, I mean, I don't know.
Jaylen, do you actually, because we are the same age and we're on, I'd say kind of on the same path-ish, but do you follow what's coming out every year?
Like, what do you mean?
Like
can you explain?
Like when the movies went to the Oscars this Sunday, did you watch any of those?
Nah, I don't think so. Well, okay, I watched like the more like indie films that like come out. So I think one of the highlights for me was Didi. That one like hit me hard. Like I actually really enjoyed that one. But other than that, I haven't really like seen like the movies mentioned in the Oscars. But I like more like of the indie movies.
Yeah. I've been wanting to watch Didi. I feel like it is something that would reference the classics because it goes back to what year?
I think like early 2000s.
Early 2000s. So like Kaelin's prime.
My prime was the early 2000s.
I'm so sorry.
When
That
you were
I didn't mean
10
that. I
years
didn't mean
old.
that. I didn't
Yes.
mean that.
Another good movie, I don't know if it's classic level, but it definitely feels like it should be, is Edge of 17 with Haley Steinfeld in it. That was a good movie. That came out when I think I was 17. I didn't watch it till like a couple years after, but you know, it still hit home. It was like, yeah, it was good. I don't know why I brought that up, but
Well,
just throwing movies out there that
also
are just
context. Kaelin is a Haley Steinfeld fan.
I am a Haley Steinfeld fan.
How about her and the Bumblebee?
You know, we don't talk about that. I actually have never seen it, but I don't expect it to be good.
Transformers are definitely not classics, I would say.
All right, so let's look up the
What?
impact Michael Bay has had on the.
On
So,
middle
like,
school
I'm not
boys'
gonna-
psyche.
that's not a hill.
Teenage
That's not a hill I'm
Mutant
gonna
Ninja
die on.
Turtles. Transformers.
Yeah, exactly.
He has his own style that is
He
sometimes
does.
used.
I don't think his movies are classic, but I think you can say I think Michael Bay has influenced the way some movies are shot.
But he's the director, right? He's not the director of photography.
No, but
I
he's the
wonder
one.
Creative vision. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the lens flares and all that.
Based on your guys' list that you've watched before and you consider classics, is there anything that you want to check out?
I definitely want to watch Pulp Fiction. I've never seen Pulp Fiction either. I've never seen Fight Club. Yeah, there's a lot of. I think there's a lot of movies that are on people's tops that I just have never seen. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I'm more of a TV show guy than a movie guy. Just I think it's because shows tend to be shorter, so I can stop it kind of whenever. Movies, I feel like I am like locked in for 2 or 3 hours, and I'm kind of stuck there, and that's daunting to me a little bit.
See, if it's a good movie, you'll never know you were stuck.
And that's very true. Wicked, great movie, didn't feel like 3 hours to me. The Batman,
Wow.
great movie, didn't feel like 3 hours to me.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, going back to Pulp Fiction and
I love the
let's
Batman.
let's stop the Batman talk.
It's staring me in the face on my list right now. I need to move.
But
to a
going
different
back to
tab.
Pulp Fiction and Fight Club, I've heard those names thrown out, and people would be mad at me for not watching it. But Jaylen, that was on your list, right?
I'm gonna be honest, I've never watched those. Okay, I've seen a little bit of Fight Club, and I've seen maybe
Really
like a
good
couple minutes of Pulp Fiction. But when I was watching the few minutes of Fight Club, I think that the few minutes I watched, it really hooked me in. Like, that's something I would want to continue
Sit
watching.
down. Yeah.
So, from what movies and films you've consumed so far, how has it affected your knowledge and bias of creativity?
I think I've talked about it briefly, but I think of what I've originally made in the beginning of my journey, basically, the I Am Project, Red Feather, blah, blah, blah. A lot of that is what was given to me. Like, that inspiration is from movies that I was surrounded with, not of my control. 7, 8 years ago, I wasn't in control of the television yet, and my parents or my siblings were just putting movies on that we would watch. And my dad's a big movie watcher, so when he puts on a movie, we can sit down and watch it together, even if it ends at 11 p.m. But all these movies that he's bought and has a library of, I've gone through them because they're just there, and they're there because of him. So I've never had a choice until recently, in learning about new movies. So when it came to the I Am Project, really my only inspiration was from Christopher Nolan's Interstellar and Inception.
Also a great movie we did not. I have never
Yeah.
seen Interstellar, but Inception, fantastic.
Inception,
You haven't seen
incredible
Interstellar?
movie.
No, I have not.
But
You know-
the I Am Project is proof of how being surrounded by movies affected the way I wrote something. So, having seen Interstellar and Inception a number of times, that pushed me. I started writing it. I found out that I was inspired by the loop in Interstellar and the dreaming capabilities of Inception.
What movies and films do you draw the most inspiration from? I know you've talked about music videos, but are there any originating classic films that are specific to you?
I think the one that really stands out to me is Whiplash and mid-90s. I know they're two very different things, but I feel the story of Whiplash, that I would want to write something like that. Maybe not too intense like that, but I would want something closer to that. And for mid-90s, it's just nostalgia, like childhood. Like I want to create things that people could look back on and be like, yeah, that's how I was. Like watching those movies like Dee Dee, mid 90s, I don't know what else. Like stuff like that, but those really like inspire me. Like I want people to know me like for those type of movies, like not like Whiplash movies, but like shorter films or like nostalgia factor films. Those would like, I feel like those would like reach more people.
You know, I'm still waiting. I know there's like a 10-year age gap between us, but I am waiting for the day. You know, there's like that 70s show, there's that 90s show, and you know those are made after the fact, and obviously are you know showing how teenagers were at that age. I can't wait until they make movies of teenagers set in the 2010s, and like capture that, because that's when I was a teenager, and like it was such a time. It was like, I don't know. It was before, I don't even know, like social media was just starting basically. And it was just like this whole era of teens being teens. And I don't know. I can't wait. I'm waiting for that day. It's going to be weird, but it's going to be fun to watch. So I think you'd have an audience if you try to depict kind of those, how did you phrase it? The
Nostalgia factor?
Nostalgia era stuff. Yeah. Not saying, I don't know, if you make a 2010 teen film, like that's cool, but if you make like a 2020 teen film, that's also cool.
Good.
I actually have not seen Whiplash.
Dude, get on it. It's
I know. I know that like he's like at the drum, and then Jake.
You haven't seen
just
Whiplash?
Like,
Well, see,
whatever.
what
We'll
I
talk
think
about it.
is inspirational about Whiplash is that it started out as a short film. It was a short film originally until in a like realistic way it got brought up to the budget of a feature film. One of those things about a movie that can inspire me, you know, that they took a realistic approach to making such a widely known movie big, you know. So Whiplash was a short film with what's his J.K. Simmons attached to it.
And Miles Teller.
And he would no.
Miles.
It was J.K. Simmons from the short film, and the main guy got recasted with Miles Teller once they brought it up to a feature film. But it's just an interesting example to look at when a short film is made and on such a low budget, and just to make it's like a more story focused film. So when you compare the short film and the movie, it's like the visuals, you could tell they got a budget. You could tell that they expanded their thought process past their capabilities in this, like just the story in the short film. And then in the feature film, they moved it to more visual and more performance based story, you know? I think that's what's the most inspiring coming out of Whiplash. That's my little Batman tangent that just like Kaelin. What are your influence in movies?
Oh gosh. I think it's gonna sound it's not even like, maybe there are classics that have inspired me, but it really goes down to like just really quirky rom-coms. Honestly, it's not even the fact that they're rom-coms, it's the way that they're shot, and it's the jokes being told in like visually, but also in like dialogue. That's for me like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, My Best Friend's Wedding, #1 up there, my list of rom-coms. But movies with that kind of like, there are visual gag. Princess Diaries, the two movies out, they have visual gags in them, but then there's also some kind of like witty banter that goes on between characters, and that even to like how I write dialogue now, to how I try to frame shots, and like what other like things that I can put into a shot to make it funny, even in serious kind of situations. It's just like how to draw the humor out of like dark moments and things like that too. And I think I really draw from those movies.
It sounds like you draw a lot from what inspires you the most in the like simple things of movies that hold a lot more value than what some people may see as like the classics. I really like that you draw from silly rom-coms, as you put it. But as we're closing up on our topic of classics, Matthew, is there anything you wanted to talk about? Anything recently you've done related to film?
Well, in terms of recently, this is a little insight into how this podcast is made. So as of March 4th, I am behind an episode. I absolutely have not touched the last episode that we have recorded. And when I did, I tried editing my own recording on Audacity and it got corrupted.
Oh.
So today I'm fixing things. I'm making it easier for myself, which is when you say recent events, this is literally going on right now. I'm making a list of things I need to cut so that it's easier. I've learned how to run a backup audio on our visual recording of the meeting. And yeah, volleyball's going to reach its peak. That's really all I've been really focusing on recently. And hopefully in April it'll end. In the summer months it's going to be easier. Thank you for listening. I'm that young Cineast, and major thanks to Jaylen for being our first ever guest and sharing with his insight into his kind of films.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Thank you, Jaylen.
Goodbye.
See you guys.
Bye.